Okay. Hi guys. Welcome to the live for today's SNS Cricket Diaries show. Um, doing live for today's day that has ended the second day's play of the BGT fifth Test match, fifth and final Test match from the SCG, and it's been it's been a roller coaster ride once again for the Indians. We have ended the day today by leading by 145 runs after dismissing Australia for 181 in their first innings. Remember, we got dismissed for 185 yesterday, and we picked up Usman Khwaja's wicket of the last ball of the day to go in at 9 for 1. And today, it was a fantastic bowling performance by the Indian team to dismiss Australia for 181. Jasprit Bumrah started the 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 wickets tally for India today. He picked up Manas Labuschagne, got behind with a peach of a delivery of the ball just moving around the off stump, and then Sam Constance was dismissed by Mohammad Siraj. A double blow for Siraj as he picked up Travis Head as well. In fact, it's been great that we've been able to get Travis Head out in the last, I think, dating back to, I guess you can count Brisbane's second innings where every Australian batter was attacking. Still, to get him out twice in the match in Melbourne as well as twice here in Sydney, it's a great victory for us. With the kind of form that Travis Head has been in, so that was wonderful. And then Steve Smith was dismissed by Prasidh Krishna. Prasidh Krishna was making his debut in the series. I mean, in the sense that it was his first game of the series. He's already made his Test debut, but a lot was expected of him. At the same time, we were a bit nervous as to how he would go because he didn't particularly have a good match in his debut Test match, if you remember, in South Africa. And there is a reason why he was obviously not picked throughout the series until this final game, because in the pecking order, Prasidh Krishna does come in much later. So that was also the case, but he bowled very well. He dismissed um, Steve Smith with a good pitched up delivery. So Australia went into lunch 101 for 5. And then when they started on an ominous note for the Indians because Alex Carey was in the mood today. He played some good cut shots uh, of, uh, of the bowling of Mohammad Siraj as well as Prasidh Krishna, and the partnership between him and Bew Webster, who was making his Test debut and made a half century today, was looking quite ominous until, of course, Prasidh Krishna got the better of Alex Carey. And today, for a change, the Indian bowlers made sure that we didn't let the Aussie tail wag. In fact, from 161, I guess for six, they were dismissed for 181. So, at one point of time, even with the with the last wicket pair of Nathan Lyon and Scott Boland, it was looking like it would be deja vu for the Indians. And Australian last wicket pair would end up making a considerable amount of runs in order to get the lead for the Aussies, but that was not to be. Luckily, Mohammad Siraj wrapped up the final wicket by dismissing Scott Boland. And India, when they came out to bat, uh, they looked uh, they looked amazing. The opening pair, Yashav Jaiswal hitting four boundaries in the first over by Mitchell Stark. So 16 runs of the first over, India were away. 37 for no loss at one stage, and 42 when KL Rahul's innings and series as a batter came to an end. So if you look at KL Rahul's batting performance in the series, he up till I think the Brisbane Test match, he was looking as one of the very few positives India have had on this batting tour. But then again, if you actually look at it, he had a failure in Adelaide, failure in Melbourne, failure in Sydney, and two out of those three Test matches were as openers. So while I understand the fact that he has been shifted and moved up and down the order in the series, but the thing is that you got to have that volume of runs to be able to be considered seriously. And with KL Rahul, it has always been the case that even after 10 years of being on the international circuit, he has not been able to convince the fans or the selectors that he's a that he can be someone for the long run. Although he has got the long rope, he's now played almost 58, 57, 58 test matches, and the fact that he's still not been able to get those innings of significance really doesn't augur well for the team. Um, then again, Yashasvi Jaiswal also was dismissed. Scott Boland today bowled beautifully, picked up 4 wickets, and one of those was Virat Kohli. Now, I want to come to Virat Kohli. I know it's very disturbing to see a player of such uh, play, great caliber, greatness. I mean, it's not we don't need to talk about potential and talent here because he's been a great of Indian cricket, but last 5 years his legacy has gone down. And when you look back 5, 10 years down the line and you count the greatest Indian batters, I mean, Kohli can still end up, although it's looking very, very remote now that he will get to 10,000 runs. Um, he's still a good 750 to 800 runs away from that tally. And the rate at which he's scoring his runs these days, it looks like it'll take him a long, long time to get those 800 runs. So, I mean, even if he does end up scoring 10,000 test runs before he retires, I think that his legacy as one of the greats of India in terms of Test match cricket will definitely be questioned by people because a great batsman like Kohli cannot go 5 years in perennial slump, and in fact, if there were to be any other batter, he would have probably not got this longer rope as Virat Kohli has got. So yeah, there are calls for him to retire. There are calls for him to no longer play Test cricket only. Ultimately, I mean, for me, he should retire. I think his time is up. But then, obviously, cricket doesn't work like this in India, especially with the star culture that we have created over many years. Remember, even during the time of Rahul Dravid, PVS Lakshman, Sachin Tendulkar, they played more than what we're wanting them to play because of the prolonged slump. But I don't think any of them had that long a slump as Virat Kohli has had of 5 years. So I think it's extremely disappointing to see that Virat Kohli's numbers have gone down so much that his average I think is averaging now either below 46 or just above 46. So that's just not good for someone from who was considered as top amongst the Fab Four at one point of time. So yeah, again, I mean, and edging the ball to second slip. All his dismissals have been edges to either wicketkeeper or to slips. It's 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 just that now the bowlers know that they don't need to bowl any other line. Yeah, they just need to bowl a fuller or short of a good length delivery around that fourth, fifth stump, sixth stump line, even sometimes seventh stump line, and Virat will fish ultimately at one. So we've seen this pattern that over as the series progressed, sorry, as the series has progressed, Virat has tried to make that effort to leave the balls, has tried to be patient, but again, that patience has not been long lasting. And somewhere you have to blame the T20 culture. I mean, nobody wants to blame IPL, nobody wants to blame the amount of T20s India play, but Virat Kohli till I mean, he's retired from T20 only just a few months ago, right? And he's one of the marquee players. So obviously, he plays day in, day out. He plays IPL every year. He never misses it. So it is bound to creep into his longer form batting as well. The fact of jabbing at the ball, going hard at balls, not playing with soft hands. Things what Sunil Gavaskar always talks about. So nobody is ready to blame the IPL. Amongst the cricketing experts, YouTube experts, IPL is considered like a sacrosanct, but I do feel the IPL is to be blamed. I mean, but nothing can be done about it. Yeah, I mean, I personally also have my good time watching IPL, but it's a hit and giggle thing. It's not something serious for cricketers. For cricket fans like me who have grown up watching Test cricket, I understand for present day generation, it is something very, very exciting, and indeed it is, but it is creeping into our players, our batters. I mean, look at Shubman Gill as well. What was he doing coming down the track? In both innings, he's been dismissed actually coming down the track. Rishabh Pant, again, I mean, his innings, if it had not been for his innings, we would have been nowhere near the lead that we have got so far. Granted that, but Virat Kohli, Rishabh Pant has to understand that he cannot be throwing away his wicket. This is again throwing away the wicket. Trying to cut a ball wide of away from his body. It's just not on. I mean, it's as bad as the shocking shot that he played in the first innings of the previous Test match. So 61 of and about 40 balls or something definitely has given India that that kind of lead that we would be happy with at this point of time, but not with his dismissal, because he has left the game, or he has left the game hanging in balance and not with the game decisively in India's favor. That is what is the difference between Travis Head's knocks that he's played in these in this series, as well as some of the other batters. If you talk about way back Adam Gilchrist, because these guys would make sure that they not only play entertaining, aggressive brand of cricket, but on their day they would make sure that their team would be in a dominant position by the time they got out. Pant has not done that. Pant has not put India in a dominant position at the point at which he was dismissed. So I feel that it's something that he needs to really bring into his game. He cannot just be happy and satisfied scoring 60. I mean, Travis Head has got 2 centuries, and they have been pretty big ones. So why can't Rishabh Pant do that? So yeah, I mean, but it was entertaining to at the end of the day. First ball after Virat Kohli was dismissed, first ball of Scott Boland, he danced down the track and hit him for a 6 over long on, and then he hit Mitchell Stark for 2 sixes. So obviously, I mean, Rishabh Pant was in his elements today, but then we needed more. We really needed more from him to be able to. I mean, if he had been there till the end of the day, not out, he would not only, I think, have got his own century, but he would have helped India add another 40 to 50 runs. And I mean, the game would have looked completely different with India 200 runs, or say 190 to 200 runs in front, with maybe about just 5 wickets down. Yeah, you can just imagine that kind of situation, that how it would be for Australia going into the evening tonight, thinking that they are probably staring at somewhere around 250 or even 300. But as things stand now, if you see, after Pant was dismissed, the run rate slowed down. Jadeja and Washington Sundar are not anywhere near the kind of hitters like Rishabh Pant is. So obviously the run rate won't be as aggressive or as fast as it was when Rishabh Pant was at the crease. And now with just about 145 runs ahead, uh, I mean, coming to now what could happen on the third day, I would be very much surprised if India's lead goes beyond 180, 190, because the lower order doesn't inspire that much of confidence. So I think this partnership is the key. If Australia dismiss either Jadeja or Washington Sundar, I don't think, because Nitish Reddy, remember, has also gotten out. Now, Nitish Reddy also has to understand that just 1 century is not enough. He has had 3 failures after that 1 century. So somewhere the consistency, guys, has to be there, and that's what India has lacked throughout the series. I mean, even if you look at Yashasvi Jaiswal, yes, great series. People say that 161, couple of 80s in Melbourne, but what else? I mean, just 1 century in the whole series. That's where India has struggled, actually. It's not just the fact that our superstars Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli have miserably failed in the series, but the ones who have looked good, who have got the highest number of runs for India, are also the ones who have not pushed on and made those impactful knocks, or played those impactful knocks. Yeah, aka uh, KL Rahul and Yashasvi Jaiswal. Yeah, and Nitish Reddy, yes, I mean, yeah, he has done pretty well for himself, and it's his debut series. But yeah, KL Rahul and Jaiswal should have gotten, because those two looked good. They should have gotten much more runs than what they've actually or eventually ended up getting. Anyway, coming to now tomorrow's play, I think it's very clear that India needs to get more than 200 to really feel safe. And as I've said, that I don't see that happening unless Jadeja and Sundar dig in the first half an hour to 1 hour. and we'll try to build solidly and enter into the later minutes of the first session. If they are still there, then probably we have a chance of scoring more than 200 runs as a lead. For the Aussies, I think Bew Webster has had a good game. Picked up his first Test wicket as well today when he got rid of Shubman Gill and batted very well. If it had not been for him, Australia would not have got anywhere near India's total. I think it was a smart move to replace Mitchell Marsh with him, because Mitchell Marsh was looking shockingly and horribly out of neck, had been getting dismissed cheaply by the Indians. So I guess the Indians would have wanted him to be there in this test match. So Bev Webster played well, and Steve Smith luckily was dismissed. I mean, if this guy gets up to in his 30s and 40s against India, it's very, very rare that he doesn't score a century. Remember, he's got 11 centuries against us. So that's something that would have pleased India. But then again, I mean, let's see how things pan out in the next on the next day, that is tomorrow. As I said, India needs to have more than 200 to feel safe. One very important thing which I've not spoken about is Jasprit Bumrah's injury. He's had some scans done. Uh, I think his back is giving him some problems. So, although no official word is still out on whether Bumrah will play tomorrow or not, but I do feel that if Bumrah plays, then even if we get 180, 190, we do have a bit of a chance. Yeah, not more, because ultimately Bumrah needs support. So let's see what today's Siraj and Prasid Krishna have done. If they are able to do that tomorrow, then with Bumrah, probably 180 to 190 could be defended. But if Bumrah is not there, then I want 250 to feel a bit safe and to have a bit of a breathing space. But even the 250 without Bumrah could be a bit of a problem. Yes, the pitch is playing its own tricky ways here, but then it's not unplayable on this pitch. Yeah, as Rishabh Pant has shown, and the fact that no teams have not been blown away for say sub 100 totals means obviously it's not as bad a track. But yes, it's not a batting beauty. So definitely, even if Australia wins, I don't expect them to cruise to victory, whatever total that may be eventually. But then, uh, even if Australia wins by 2 wickets, 3 wickets, that has got nothing. That won't be of any good for India, because they'll ultimately end up giving away the BGT trophy. So, will India be able to defend their BGT trophy tomorrow? Will they be able to square the series and continue to keep the BGT trophy? We'll find that out tomorrow. Until then, you take care. I'll come back tomorrow with the review of the third day's play. Take care. Bye.